Hey folks, welcome to Unqualified, the fantasy football podcast that's been running off of 2 hours of sleep since 2017. I'm your producer, Rob Diesendorf, here with Sean Brady and Scott Johnson, two fantasy football rivals that have been sabotaging each other for years. They decided to come together to help you win your league and make your friends look like idiots. How's it going, fellas?
I actually have never related to one of your intros more. I just want to say, Scott,
I couldn't breathe there. I was laughing off microphone. Oh my god.
This is gonna blow you guys away. For some reason, past week and a half, I've been randomly just waking up at the weirdest times. The weirdest times. So for example, this relates to fantasy football too, so it's good. On Wednesday morning is that's the time when the waivers go through for ESPN leagues, Yahoo leagues.
First thing you do is check it in the morning.
Well, they go through at a ridiculous time. It's usually 4:30, 3:50, 5:10. But I woke up.
Oh god, I know where this is going.
I woke up the other night at it was maybe 4:45, and I woke up in between the waiver periods. So in one of our leagues, the waivers had gone through. In another league, the waivers had not yet gone through.
Oh
so
my
I was
god.
This is the Twilight Zone.
Vampire hours, baby.
I actually made an ad after the fact. I made an ad at 4:53 because it was only 8 minutes after I woke up. After the waivers went through in the last league. Advantage. Yeah, it was, it was, I don't even remember who it was, honestly. I was half asleep. But yeah, it was I felt like I was on a performance-enhancing drug in terms of fantasy football by not being able to sleep, and insomnia was actually helping my fantasy football game. So
who'd you add without waiver?
I couldn't even tell you. You know what? I'll go back and check while I'm sure you guys dive into your lack of sleep in the past week. But if
it's a league winner, that was worth it. But first of all, there's two things I need to say right now while you look that up, Sean. Rob, this is bad radio right now because no one can see this. You look crazy right now for some reason. You were doing that intro.
Oh yeah,
and your hair looks like the doctor or the scientist from Back to the Future.
Oh yeah,
I almost died laughing. Sorry. Anyway,
it's good.
Should have said that 2 minutes ago. And then the other thing I was going to say was back in 2014, I was fun employed during the football season, during the fantasy football season, and I would literally do that every single Tuesday night. I swear to God, I would stay up until 3:30, not because I was waiting for waivers. I was just I'm up, whatever. I woke up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm a piece of shit, and I stayed up until 3:30 or 4. And I would literally add people right after that. I'd be like, why are the waivers not coming in? It's 3:28. That was the dark times.
Yeah, so this actually was not
dark hours.
It wasn't a league winner by any stretch. So the waivers in this league went through at 4:01. So I must have
interesting.
I have no idea what happened there. But at 4:53 a.m. I dropped Adrian Peterson, which is a good move because he looks awful.
Yeah.
And on Monday night, and picked up Darwin Thompson. So I don't know what was going through my mind. Clearly not a lot.
453, man.
I think I was kind of just fed up with Adrian Peterson at the moment, so decided to go and take a shot on Darwin Thompson. Probably could have picked up somebody better, but you know what? It's what it takes to win that league.
I don't think anyone blames you for dropping him, but picking up Darwin is no one knew. There's going to be a guy with D. Williams as his name too.
Yeah, of course. Darrell Williams.
But wouldn't didn't he had 4 carries and the other guy had I don't know. Maybe I have lack of sleep too.
Well,
3 hours of sleep every night this week.
My thinking was Damian Williams was hurt and LaShawn McCoy was banged up, and he actually got banged up again in this game, but it wasn't Darwin Thompson that got the looks. First off, Darwin Thompson looks like a weapon out there. If you see him, he looks almost like Tyreek Hill-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously not great for a running back, but Darrell Williams got the majority of the work. And
that was who I was thinking of, D. Williams.
You know what? So I was close. 4:53 a.m. Sean was on. He was in the right frame of not the right frame of mind. He was on the right track, but not in the right frame of mind
right track
to make that decision.
Exactly.
Let's talk about another team that might not be on the right track here or in the right frame of mind, and that's our New York Jets.
J-word. You got to say J-words.
Heaven. Oh, J-words. Yeah, the J-words have a much-needed bye in Week 4. Thank God.
I'm not talking about them anymore. It's fucking ridiculous. What?
Yeah,
God.
We don't have to see them on our screens this week, and I could not be happier about it.
One offensive touchdown in 3 games. Just one. Not in 3 quarters, which wouldn't be good either. Not in 3 halves, which also, mind you, would be terrible. 3 full NFL football games. That's a redundancy. There's football twice in that statement. 3 games, 1 offensive touchdown.
We've already said too much, Scott.
Okay.
Also on bye in Week 4, the 49ers, who are looking very nice so far in 2019. Great fantasy offense, great NFL offense, good NFL defense.
Yes. And almost fantasy defense too, right?
If their division wasn't as stacked as it is, this would be a no doubt playoff team. They still might be a playoff team.
It's a great
but
point.
I'm buying. First off, their jerseys are sick. They might have one of the best jerseys in the league, and we were sleeping on them in our jerseys rant that we did in the offseason.
Wow.
Because there's nothing like that 49ers gold helmet flying down the sidelines.
They also have cool alternative ones. There's a black jersey, right? That's pretty.
Yeah.
That slaps.
It hits different. So Jets, 49ers, J-word, sorry, 49ers on bye. So take those guys out of your lineup. Probably not too many guys starting from those teams, but if you're a George Kittle owner, time to go pick somebody up for the week.
All right, Week 4 preview. Let's get into it. Games of the week. Crunchwrap Supreme. GOTW. If you don't know what that means, read a book.
Get with it.
Get in the channels. First matchup, we got Browns at Ravens. Ravens are favored by 5.5. What do we think about this game? So I've read a stat about Baker Mayfield. 2.5 seconds and lower when he throws it, especially in Week 2. This is like the epitome of it. His completion percentage is upwards of like 75-80%. There are some touchdowns. When you give him 2.5 seconds or more, especially Week 2 again, Week 2 he was 5 of 18 and no interception. Or maybe he had an interception in that frame too. So he's got to get the ball out quickly. I don't think he realizes it though. What do we think about the Browns, their pass catchers, and the Ravens here?
Yeah, I think if he scrambles around and tries to make things happen late in the down, Earl Thomas is lurking in this game, and I don't like that if I'm a Baker guy.
Yep.
Baker is on my bench. Luckily, I backed him up with Russell Wilson, and I'm sitting pretty, so thank God. But I can't advise anyone to start him at the moment. They got to take some time and figure this out. I mean, Odell is going to be fine. Odell could play with a guy with no arms at quarterback, which he kind of did for 3-4 years at this point anyway.
Ooh,
and
that's a shot right there. I love it.
I mean, just let's be real. Let's just imagine Odell's ceiling if he has, Danny Dimes throwing him the ball at this point.
True.
So he'll be just fine. But as a Nick Chubb owner, as an investor in this offense in general, not thrilled with what I'm seeing so far. And I think the Ravens showed me a lot in that Kansas City game. Yes, they got down a little bit, down the stretch, but they were mounting a legitimate comeback. Lamar Jackson was making things happen with his legs, which we hadn't seen him do in 2019 because they were just plowing through teams. So I think Lamar has a day. I think Marquise Brown has a little bit of a rebound this week, and Mark Ingram might go bonkers again. And if you're thinking about selling them high, I would sit tight for now. I think the Ravens are actually going to kill the Browns this week. I don't think the Browns have it figured out yet.
I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench in here before we move on because I know we want to get to the other games. The Ravens, I think they're a good team, but I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench here. They played the Dolphins Week 1, the Cardinals Week 2. And they barely beat the Cardinals. I know the Cardinals are a little more serviceable with Kyler Murray, and they tied the Lions, which actually look like a good team. But being the Dolphins is not that impressive. And then, yeah, they kind of kept it with the Chiefs, but they were actually down. I think it was 33-21. And then they scored like kind of a garbage time TD. So it wasn't as close as people think. So I think this game will be actually closer. Browns, they don't look good. So I'm still going to take the Ravens to win by like a touchdown, but I just don't think the Ravens are like a Super Bowl contender at this point. Maybe like a wild card team. But
yeah, I totally agree.
Opinion.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think they might win that division just because that division doesn't look that strong.
Horrible.
But
yeah. This is a big game for that, though.
But they're not touching the Chiefs or the Patriots in the playoffs. Like, there's no chance they beat either of those teams in the playoffs.
No, absolutely not. Speaking of them, Chiefs -6.5 at the Lions. Again, Lions are looking pretty good. Pat Mahomes, nothing needs to be said. His pass catchers, though, Demarcus Robinson still salvaged a day. Not as big as week 2. McCole Hardman, 2 catches, 97 yards, a touchdown. I think he's still the guy over Demarcus Robinson. More targets. Feels like Robinson is the flyer until Tyreek Hill comes back. But this matchup, you got Darius Slay, shutdown corner, who's kind of faltered in the past couple of or the past year or so compared to what he was a couple years ago. So he's probably going to be shadowing Sammy Watkins. So again, one of these guys, Russian roulette, think they can get into the end zone. And it is a dome, so it's not like outside where they're subject to the weather. The Lions, I think it was a down day for Galladay, but he should bounce back in what should be a potential shootout. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is historically one of my favorite teams to watch almost every year. I mean, I this goes back to like the Priest Holmes days for me. I love watching the Chiefs, and I hate watching the Lions, but I don't know. The Lions are not as bad this year. They're not as disgusting to watch, and I think this could be a really fun game. That's why it's here in the Crunchwrap Supreme Games of the Week. I do think, though, you cannot bet against the Chiefs at the moment. I don't think the Lions are that much better than the Ravens that they'll be able to keep this game that close. I think the Chiefs win this one going away.
Yeah, I agree with that. Next game, we got Cowboys -3 at Saints. So Saints are still Drew Brees less. Bridgewater didn't make them lose too much, the rest of the team, especially Alvin Kamara, but Michael Thomas definitely regressed. So that's something to keep an eye on. Cowboys shouldn't be able to contain him at home in that dome. And the Cowboys, just like the Ravens, have had really easy matchups. So I know they're a good team, and Dak's doing really well. This should be another good shootout. But I think after this week, maybe we start thinking about selling Dak Prescott high, maybe Amari Cooper high. What do we think?
Yeah, I definitely would advocate for that as well. And I think this game it's going to be a lot of fun to watch schematically because Kellen Moore is doing a wonderful job over there in Dallas. And you know Sean Payton's going to have his boys firing on all cylinders, or at least all the cylinders that they have left. And I mean, like, can you say enough about Alvin Kamara? Like, him against Zeke in this game is going to be fascinating to me because to me those are with Saquon injured now, those are clearly the top 2 running backs in the NFL. Like, you know, McCaffrey obviously you can toss in there as well, but that's going to be a really fun matchup to watch. And as far as this game goes, I think I'll take the Saints at home. I think that home field advantage is actually one that's legit early in the year. I'll take the Saints in the dome.
I agree. They really surprised me going to Seattle and beating them last week, so I agree with that.
All right, let's look at our Doritos Logos Tacos properly hyped games that are missing some clout. And this one is probably another week or 2 away from being a legit Crunchwrap Supreme Game of the Week. We just need to see a little bit more from our rookie on one side. The Seahawks -4, favored by 4, going to Arizona to take on the Cardinals, a divisional game. And we get here the prototype and the new addition here, Russell Wilson versus Kyler Murray. I actually can't wait to watch this game. To me, this is a Crunchwrap Supreme Game of the Week because I think the Cardinals are must-see TV when they're on our screens. Look, the Seahawks are just like almost maddening in the fact that you don't know what's going to happen week to week. Like, we think we could trust Chris Carson. He's got to stop fumbling the ball. We think Russell Wilson's going to take a back seat to the running game. He goes absolutely bananas and throws for a ridiculous amount of touchdowns and runs himself
40 points.
40 plus fantasy points. And on the Cardinals side, they're like oddly consistently good. There's no like ridiculous stat lines coming out of that offense, but they're kind of just humming under the radar, which is actually the last thing I envisioned when they, got a new head coach and drafted a quarterback first overall. But I agree. They're a fun team. I think they're almost like a steady Eddie team just based on the floor that Cliff Kingsbury has established there for their offense. So to me, this game could be so much fun to watch. The wild card here is how Kyler Murray does against guys like Jadeveon Clowney and Bobby Wagner. I think that's really scary to see those guys on the other side of the ball for a guy that's like 5'9". So I think they're a little bit overmatched here. I like the Seahawks here, but this could be a lot of fun with these two guys scrambling around, these two quarterbacks.
Yeah, Kyler's completion percentages have gone up in each game this year, and he had a season-high rushing last week of 8 rushes for 69 yards. So that should continue and only go up. And, again, shootout, like we always say that, but like that's today's NFL. There's a lot of shootouts. So Fitzy, Christian Kirk, really low yards per catch last week, but still look like a wide receiver. Honestly, low-end wide receivers 2 and 3, respectively.
Yep.
Fitzy being a low-end wide receiver 2, Kirk being a wide receiver 3. On the other side, though, I don't know where Rashad Penny was. I don't know if he was hurt.
I think he's hurt.
But now all of a sudden we got CJ Prosise, so like 3-headed attack here. I don't know what the hell's going on, but I'm going to take the Seahawks -4. I think they'll cover this game and beat the Cardinals away.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Lockett out of nowhere. I mean,
he was unreal.
He was hyped, but I did not realize he was this good, and he looks absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, I was a little bit late to that party, but you know what? I think he could do some damage to this Cardinals secondary. So I agree. I'm taking the Seahawks on the road. Let's move on to our Bucks at Rams. One of my favorite teams in the league, one of my least favorite teams in the league. The Rams here should take care of business. I understand that Mike Evans went bananas last week against the Giants, but it's the Giants. I trust the Rams here overall, and I need Robert Woods to get more looks because Cooper Kupp has been awesome. Brandon Cooks has been pretty good, but I'm counting on Robert Woods on 2 teams. So I'm really hoping that this is the week that he has a nice week 4.
I think Brandon Cooks is the guy that you sell high after this week. The Browns cornerbacks on Sunday night, you pointed this out. Their top 2 were down, so that boded, I guess, well for those pass catchers on the Rams. Should continue this week in the Bucks, but there's too many mouths to feed, and Goff just doesn't look as good as he did last year. So, yeah, I agree. This is a really high line for the Rams, -9.5, and I'm actually going to take the Bucks to cover that. I don't think the Rams are going to blow them out by like 10 or 14 points necessarily. I know they're home, but like they don't really have that much of a home field advantage. So I don't know. Feels wrong.
Yeah, to me, like I'll jump the gun on my gambling tip of the week. Never bet on Jameis Winston. I mean, they just lost to fucking Daniel Jones.
You're right. I agree with you.
I mean, like, yeah.
Never mind.
I'm not saying that I would definitely bet on the Rams, but I'm saying I would definitely not bet on the Bucks. If that makes sense.
I would stay away from this game, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Rams haven't really fired on all cylinders yet, so maybe that's coming. We'll see. Let's move on to this next NFC North matchup here. The Vikings at the Bears. This one could be a defensive battle, big battle of the running games. I mean, the Bears look pretty nice on Monday night, but again, that's the Redskins. So I don't know. I think the Vikings are a better team, and they're getting points here, 2.5. That's the classic just home field line there. I think the Vikings with Dalvin Cook should be the favorites here. I understand the Bears have a good defense, but I'm taking the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Vikings too. Dalvin Cook, he's unbelievable, and the Bears are blowing out the Redskins on Monday night, kind of. But yeah, I'm taking the Vikings. Diggs needs to be benched until they throw it more. Bears, I'm not too excited about anyone, but mostly because of Minnesota's defense this year. But Taylor Gabriel had a really good game on Monday night, so maybe he's a pickup. But yeah, I'm taking the Vikings as well.
All right, let's move on to our spicy potato tacos. Light but sneaky good. The Panthers at the Texans. This one I couldn't really figure out where to place because Kyle Allen looks like he's a beast, and he unlocked Curtis Samuel. Thank God, because I was honestly getting to the point where I was considering trading him away or cutting him. He also unlocked Greg Olsen. I mean, this passing game looks better than it had at any point this year and at any point during the second half of last year. Maybe just because Cam was hurt, and we've been saying that forever. You're welcome. But the Panthers are, albeit still road underdogs against the Texans, who are just like, they're just the Texans, you know? They're
just the Texans.
They're probably going to finish third or fourth in the AFC. They have the best wide receiver in the NFL. They have one of the top 5 defensive players in the league in J.J. Watt. Deshaun Watson's a stud, and for some reason, I still don't feel great about the Texans, in general. Now, this week, I think they'll win this game. I think that the Kyle Allen show might be slowed down a little bit on the road, but, I mean, what's going on with this Texans team, Scott? I mean, they just beat the Chargers, and I still don't feel great about them.
Yeah, they've had a weird start to the season. They should be 3-0, but it's been a very gritty 3-0, almost like the Rams last year, right? We said they had 7 games decided by 1 touchdown or less, and or they were 6-1 in those games. And statistically, it never is that high. Their teams are usually like 3-4, 4-3, or whatever. And the Rams last year would have been, a 3rd seed if that was statistically correct. So the Texans, it feels like this isn't going to continue. Panthers, they're going to beat the Panthers in my opinion. I'm going to take that line, but I'm starting to think that I love Deshaun Watson. He's one of my favorite players, but everyone talks about, the Texans aren't doing anything to help this guy out. He's getting mauled every week. Sure, he's getting mauled every week, but they just traded for Laramie Tunsil, like a first rounder. So stop saying that. And also, he holds on to the ball really long.
Yeah, he does.
So,
that's a good point.
I love the guy, but I'm sorry. Get rid of the ball a little earlier. Maybe that's separation by the wide receivers. Maybe Will Fuller needs to be a better second option. I don't know, but I love the guy, but people need to stop saying that, to be honest with you. I think Fuller and Hopkins both have tough matchups here, but you can't really sit Hopkins. Fuller you can. Carlos Hyde, I would play him. I think it's a really good matchup for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's very quietly had a good start to the year. Obviously not a great yards per carry in week 3, but he got 90 yards week 1 and 2. He just scored a touchdown.
More work than Duke.
And he might be that guy that just kind of punches the ball in for them after Hopkins and Fuller do all the work, and I'm fine with that. I'll take it because I'm an owner. Last game of the week here, or our spicy potato game of the week, the Titans at the Falcons.
Boring.
I don't really know what to say except for the fact that coming from me, this is going to mean a lot. I would take the Titans here because the Falcons are a disaster of a team.
Dumpster fire.
What is happening there?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's got to be it's I don't know. Honestly, Cam Newton lost in the Super Bowl when they were 15-1, and I feel like he never recovered, and neither did the Panthers. Falcons the next year lost in the Super Bowl when they were up, and they just never recovered. I don't know what it is. Dan Quinn? I don't know. I think Calvin Ridley's going to bounce back here, buy some Austin Hooper stock. Falcons minus 4.5. I'm going to take the Falcons. I think it'll be a close game, but 4.5 is I don't know, doable.
For me, I think that the Falcons might be kind of soft overall.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
And I think the Titans are anything but. They might not be that talented, but they are not
I don't know
soft.
what they are either. That's the problem. What are they? They're a run team, I know, but I don't get what the rest of the team is.
Oh, actually, I feel gross because I said I would take the Marcus Mariota side there. Stay away from this game. You don't want to bet on either team.
Just stay away. Exactly.
And that's my Live Mouse gambling tip of the week here. Don't bet on someone you don't like because it's not worth it. You just learned that the hard way, likely, with the Bucks this past week, playing against the Giants, and they lost you some hard-earned cash, and you don't want to take that chance. So stick with the blue chip teams like the Chiefs at the Lions. Take that line, that 6.5 line, swallow the points, and watch Patrick Mahomes make you some money.
It's too bad the J-words are on a bye. You can't bet against them this week. All right, let's do it. Week 4, would you rather? We got two would you rathers per position. So Kyler Murray versus Seahawks or Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones versus Redskins in week 4. Who do we got?
Oh, man, this is actually a really tough one. I think I would take Kyler Murray. I've seen more overall, but you could do worse than Daniel Jones this week because this matchup is a piece of cake. Really nice time for them to sub in Daniel Jones against the Bucks and now the Redskins. Honestly, well played. And you could do worse, but I'm sticking with Kyler. I think he's just a better player.
I'm going to go Daniel Jones. As of the end of the third quarter, when we're recording this on Monday Night Football, the Chicago Bears are up 28-9 on the Redskins, and Mitch Trubisky that same Mitch Trubisky I don't think he's thrown a touchdown before week 3. He threw 3 in the first half. And that's going to bode well for Daniel Jones, obviously. So I'm going D. Jones. Next one we got is Teddy Bridgewater versus the Cowboys, or your boy Gardner Minshew at the Broncos.
Oh man, you know what? Fuck it. Give me Gardner Minshew. Why not?
All right.
I think Alvin Kamara is going to get the job done on the ground this week against the Cowboys. So for that fact alone, and just I can't get off the Minshew train. I just can't quit this guy. Give me Gardner Minshew, and that's a purely emotional reaction. It makes no logical sense to me, but I can't not at the moment.
I'm going to go Bridgewater. Broncos is a tough place to play. Next one we got running backs. Sony Michel at the Bills or Devontae Freeman versus the Titans.
Kill me. I would... I guess Devontae Freeman, but it's like that's a flex conversation. That's not an RB2 conversation right there. What about you? Because you're trying to torture me with that question, I think.
I know. That's why I did it. I'm taking Devontae Freeman. I really dislike Sony Michel this year. I really tried to talk myself into him, and it's just not working out well. But I don't even want to talk. He's like the S word. The Jets are the J word, and Sony Michel's the S word. I like the guy, but fantasy purposes, Miles Sanders at the Packers Thursday night. Keep in mind, or Carlos Hyde versus the Panthers.
I'm going to go Miles Sanders, and that might be maybe unpopular. I'm not sure how people feel at the moment, but I think that he is clearly talented. I think he fumbled this week, so it kind of killed his stat line. But and maybe that's becoming an issue for him. I get it, but he's so effing good, and he just needs the ball more. And I think they might need to lean on him a little bit against the Packers. So that's just another gut call. I think Miles Sanders, one of these weeks, it's going to happen for this guy. And I'd rather be a week late on that, but I think this might be the week. I really do.
I'm losing patience on Packers defense is too good. I'm going Hyde versus the Panthers. Next one we got wide receiver. Oh, what do you got?
Oh, I'm throwing it over to you here. Calvin Ridley against the Titans, or now Nelson Aguilar at the Packers. So the same game for that second matchup there as the Sanders
one. Thursday night, road teams do not do well historically. So the Titans last week, if you date it back, I think the road teams have covered the spread 70% of the time, and I know that's a spread, but that affects fantasy implications too, right? So, I don't know. I think the Packers are going to win this game, obviously. So I'm just going to go Calvin Ridley. It can't get much worse than last week, and the Titans are middling against wide receivers and pass catchers, so I'll go Ridley in a bounce-back week. Okay.
I think for me, I would go Aguilar, but it's, again, that's like a one-week rental with him, so...
Right, exactly.
You may almost be in the spot where you're like, all right, I guess one more go-round with him. Let's take a look at Sterling Shepard against the Redskins or Marvin Jones against the Chiefs. So kind of the coming back party for both these guys, the homecoming, if you will, in week 3. Exactly. How do you feel about them in week 4?
I'm going to go Marvin Jones versus the Chiefs just for the sole purpose of it being more of a shootout than the Redskins and Giants. And Danny Dimes looked great, but Sterling Shepard is the number one guy, and Josh Norman doesn't cover cover corner. Sorry, Josh Norman doesn't shadow as much the opposing wide receiver 1, but I feel like they might put him on Shepard and maybe even Evan Engram, honestly, in part of this game. I'm just going to go Marvin Jones. He looked pretty good last week in a what's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I trust Jones as well. Let's look at some tight ends here. Yuck. Will Dissly against the Cardinals or O.J. Howard having a rough start to the year against the Rams?
Yeah, I'm going to go Dissly. O.J. Howard is, I almost put him on hashtag canceled player of the week. He was a bad haircut last week, and 3 catches for 66 yards on 4 targets or whatever. Are you kidding me? Is he kidding me? What's going on?
I'm willing to stick it out here just because the position is so thin. I'm going to stick it out with O.J. Howard for at least another week, but it's not. I agree. It's not looking great.
I don't know if this was overthinking it or we didn't overthink it, but Bruce Arians, dating back to his Cardinals days and Colts before that, when he was offensive. The Colts and then the Steelers before that. I can't name one tight end that he's ever really featured in his offense.
Ooh.
Right?
We should have seen that coming, maybe.
I know. I don't know why all of a sudden we didn't. I don't know. That might have been overthinking it. Things change, but yeah, Disley.
Okay, and the last one here, Austin Hooper, big week 3 against the Titans in week 4, or Greg Olsen at the Texans.
It's a tough one too. I'm going Greg Olsen. I think that's more repeatable than Austin Hooper versus the Titans. I think Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley will get into the end zone here. And Greg Olsen had really good rapport with Kyle Allen. And road game, Texans are going to put up a lot of points on them. I'll take Olsen.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Great to see him back.
I'm 100% with you on that one. And let's get to a really quick dumpster diving here. And I'm going to kind of repeat what I said earlier in the week with my shrewd move. This is the week, if you don't know what you're doing and you have somebody on your team that you don't love and you want to just make a move, look ahead to week 5. Pick up Tevin Coleman. I guarantee you he's there. And he's only there because people figure, I'll get him for week, in between week 4 and 5. No, get him a week early. Go do it. Love Tevin Coleman this week. Make it happen.
All right, that does it for week 4 preview. Thanks to our guest earlier this week, Brandon Deedy. Killed it for our recap episode. Good luck in week 4. Check the channels. Our Flex Fridays have been popping, and they're only going to get crazier and more intense.
Get your name featured on Flex Friday, and then go retweet it or regram it, I guess, technically, and get us out there on the channels. Get yourself active in those channels. Throw some names out into the ether, and let us go to work.
Might be some merchandise in the future for you. We don't know. Maybe.
Oh.
Send us a video message, and we'll maybe put that up on the story, too.
Good idea. Tag us.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Tag the 3 of us individually. S. Brady, 15.
415, yep.
415, Rob Diesendorf, and Scott KP36, and Unqualified.ff.
Get on the channels. Live Moss.
Well, see you later.
Well, see you later.